Back to Total Chiefs News.
Kingdom. It's game week, and we're gearing up for an intense showdown with our longtime rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders. But before we dive into what's happening on the field, let's talk about the flurry of roster moves the Chiefs just made. There's been a lot of action behind the scenes, and it's going to have a major impact on Friday's game. First up, we've got a new, but familiar, face joining the squad, kicker Matthew Wright. Remember him? He filled in for Harrison Butker back in 2022 and nailed a 59-yard field goal at Arrowhead against the Raiders. Now, he's back. But before we get too comfortable, let's talk about how we got here. Spencer Schrader, who's been holding down the fort as our kicker while Butker recovers, had to sit out Tuesday's practice with a hamstring issue. That left the Chiefs with no choice but to bring in Wright as backup. It's been a wild season for our special teams, and having 3 different kickers in one season isn't exactly what we planned. But hey, sometimes it's all about adapting, right? Here's a fun fact for you. Wright's 59-yarder was the franchise record until Butker smashed it with a 62-yarder just weeks later. So, do we have a little friendly competition brewing here? Maybe. But the big question is, can Wright deliver when it counts this Friday? What do you think? Are you confident in Wright stepping up again, especially in a rivalry game like this? Let me know in the comments, and while you're there, cast your vote. Who do you think will hit the longest field goal this season, Wright or Butker? And hey, if you're enjoying this insider breakdown, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Your support helps us get closer to our goal of 2,000 subscribers, and trust me, you don't want to miss any updates as we head into this critical stretch of the season. Alright, now let's shift our focus to the offensive line, an area where the Chiefs have been looking for some stability. And guess what? We might have just found it. Enter DJ Humphries, an experienced offensive tackle who could be exactly what we need to shore up the left side of the line. Humphries comes to Kansas City with an impressive resume. He was a starter for 8 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals before an ACL injury sidelined him at the end of 2023. But now, he's cleared to play, and the Chiefs wasted no time bringing him on board. Why does this matter? Well, if you've been watching closely, you know our left tackle. Kingdom, let's talk about the heartbeat of our backfield, Isaiah Pacheco. There's a chance he could be back in action this Friday, and honestly, that's the kind of news we've all been waiting for. If you've been following his journey, you know it hasn't been easy. Pacheco was off to a blazing start this season, 189 total yards from scrimmage and a touchdown in just 2 games. But then, a broken fibula against the Bengals brought everything to a sudden halt. Since then, veteran Kareem Hunt has taken over as the primary back, and he's done a solid job. But let's be real, there's just something special about Pacheco. His explosiveness, his energy, and the way he runs with purpose make him a game changer. Even Patrick Mahomes can't wait to have him back. In fact, Mahomes recently said he's going to be Pop, man. And if you've ever watched Pacheco play, you know exactly what that means. He's the guy who brings the hype, the fire, and the intensity that can lift the entire team. But here's the thing, the Chiefs aren't going to rush him. Offensive coordinator Matt Nagy has been clear about taking a cautious approach. After all, the last thing we want is for Pacheco to re-injure himself by pushing too hard too soon. So, what can we expect? Probably a gradual return. Maybe a few snaps here and there to ease him back into the game. But make no mistake, once he's fully back, this offense is going to look a lot more dangerous. Now, here's a question for you. If Pacheco and Hunt are both healthy, who should get more carries? Let me know in the comments. And if you're feeling bold, vote in our poll. 1. Pacheco, the explosive playmaker. 2. Hunt, the experienced veteran. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Join the Total Chiefs community today and help us hit 2,000 subscribers. We're growing fast, and your support makes all the difference. Alright, with Pacheco potentially back, our offense is looking up. But what about the defense? Up next, we'll talk about a player who could take our pass rush to the next level, Charles Omenihu. Stay tuned! Alright, Kingdom, let's flip to the other side of the ball and talk defense. Specifically, let's talk about the return of Charles Omenihu, a player who could be a game changer for our pass rush. Omenihu hasn't played a single snap this season. Why? Because he's been recovering from a torn ACL suffered in last year's AFC Championship. But now, there's a chance he could make his season debut against the Raiders. Defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo has been cautious but optimistic. He knows how important it is to ease Omenihu back into action. What you don't want to do is throw somebody out there too quick, Spag said. And he's right. The last thing we need is to risk another injury. But here's why Omenihu's return matters. The Chiefs' pass rush has been inconsistent this season. Chris Jones has been doing his thing, but he can't do it alone. Adding a versatile player like Omenihu, who can play both inside and outside, gives this defense more options and, more importantly, more pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Let's not forget, Omenihu had 8 sacks last season, including playoffs. That's the kind of production we need if we're going to make a deep playoff run. And Chris Jones agrees. He recently said, he's a pass rusher, and it's always good to get more pass rushers on the field. So, what do you think? How many sacks will Omenihu rack up in his first game back? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. We're bringing you all the latest updates on your Chiefs, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Not all the roster news is about new additions or returning stars. Sometimes, tough decisions have to be made, and this week, a few familiar faces were shown the door. Let's break it down. First up, defensive end Cameron Thomas. This one's a bit of a surprise, especially considering the Chiefs traded a 7th-round pick to the Cardinals for him during the preseason. But after limited production and a crowded defensive line, KC decided to waive him. Another notable departure is tight end Peyton Hendershot, who was placed on injured reserve after suffering a calf injury. Hendershot showed promise, but injuries have been a recurring issue. On the bright side, tight end Baylor Cupp has been restored to the practice squad after his own preseason injury. Could Cupp step in and fill the void? We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, defensive end Truman Jones and offensive tackle Lucas Nyang had their practice squad contracts terminated. These moves free up space, potentially for the return of starters like Omenihu and Pacheco. Roster changes like these are part of the game, but they always spark debate. So here's a question for you. Which of these departures do you think will have the biggest impact on the team? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you're still with us, make sure you're subscribed. We're on a mission to reach 2,000 subscribers, and your support means the world. Let's keep building this community together. Now, with all these moves in place, what does it mean for Friday's game against the Raiders? Let's wrap things up with a look at what to expect. Alright, Chiefs Kingdom, now that we've covered all the roster moves, let's focus on the big question: what can we expect when the Chiefs take on the Raiders this Friday at Arrowhead? First off, this game is about more than just another win. It's a divisional matchup, and you know how much those games matter. The Raiders might not be leading the AFC West, but they always bring their best when facing us. Plus, they've got a new head coach trying to make a statement. So, don't underestimate them. On offense, all eyes will be on how the Chiefs manage their backfield. If Isaiah Pacheco is back, even for limited snaps, expect the energy on the sidelines and on the field to skyrocket. But don't forget about Kareem Hunt. His veteran presence and power running could wear down the Raiders' defense. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes will be looking to exploit a Raiders secondary that has been inconsistent this season. With Humphries potentially stepping in on the offensive line, Mahomes might get the extra protection he needs to take some deep shots. Keep an eye on that connection with Travis Kelce. This could be a game where Kelce dominates. Defensively, the return of Charles Omenihu could be the X factor. If he can provide a spark to the pass rush alongside Chris Jones, the Raiders quarterback is going to have a tough night. And with the home crowd at Arrowhead behind them, the defense will be looking to make a statement early. So, what's your prediction for Friday's game? Final score? Who's the MVP? Drop it in the comments. And let's see who gets it right. And one last reminder, if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Total Chiefs and hit that notification bell. Your support helps us bring you the best Chiefs coverage week after week. Now, get ready for game day, Chiefs Kingdom. It's time to defend the kingdom and show the Raiders who owns the AFC West. Go Chiefs!